I haven't seen his name pop up before, but he made quite a few trades.
Members of Congress are busy buying up some stocks to start the summer.
The number two most bought stock by Congress for the quarter.
MarketBeat's Thomas Hughes joins us with a fresh update on which areas of the market members of Congress are focused on most right now.
The consumer discretionary sector is a great buy right now.
Plus, he'll share one congressional play that's already paying off in a big way for the lawmaker who perfectly timed the bottom.
An opportunistic move. I mean, they're down really low.
Is there still time for you to get in on some of these recent congressional buys? Let's dive in. Thomas, so great to have you back today talking about one of our favorite segments, and that's catching up on what members of Congress are doing in the market. If you're a subscriber here, you know we talk about this often on the channel. Due to popular request, we're actually bringing this back to talk about every 2 weeks, giving you an update on what members of Congress are buying right now. So hopefully you have some time to track some of what might be some insider knowledge on these moves they're making in the market. So Thomas, let's get started with what kind of moves we're seeing so far in June.
Well, right now, as of June 20th, we're not tracking any trades in June, but that's really not saying a whole lot. These people have 45 days to report their trades, so it could be the middle of next month before the trades on June 1st were even reported. That's one of the reasons why there's so much disgruntlement amongst traders in general that Congress members can trade. You know, they're not supposed to have this insider knowledge and make these insider trades, and they are technically supposed to report. But 6 weeks after the fact is not helping anybody out.
No, not at all. And in fact, one of the later stocks we're going to talk about in this video, a member of Congress bought right at the bottom and is already making some good profits on that. We're going to talk about whether you can still profit with that congressional play too. But first, we're going to dive into some of the more recent plays that members of Congress have made and what we can learn from them. So, Thomas, let's dive into this first stock that we've seen some congressional buying on.
Well, right. So what I was looking at in May, this the trades reported for May and trades reported for the second quarter, but the most prolific traders in May were Marjorie Taylor Greene. No surprise there; she's pretty active, and Robert Bresnahan. He was also pretty active. I haven't seen his name pop up before, but he made quite a few trades. To me, it looks like portfolio shuffling. But one of the names that stands out was Texas Instruments. Texas Instruments is the number two most bought stock by Congress for the quarter. So for him to be purchasing it, it kind of aligns with that trend. It's a standout name. And so why are they buying it? And there are quite a few good reasons for that. The company recently returned to growth. The outlook is good. It's well positioned in the semiconductor market because while NVIDIA is commanding the AI market, Texas Instrument commands really the industrial market. So they make all the chips that make everything work. NVIDIA makes your computer smart. TXN makes things work, makes the industries work. They make products work. Within all of this, Texas Instruments is also very important to domestic production of semiconductors. They're planning lots of new business investments. They recently just announced a $60 billion investment across 7 of their foundries to create like 60,000 jobs domestically. So all very, very big news and reasons why the Congress is buying the stock.
Yeah, I think just knowing that members of Congress might be hearing some of this boosted U.S. production, that's something they might have a little bit more knowledge about behind the scenes. This company is really interesting one to me because when you think about Texas Instruments, I think about that scientific calculator back
Right.
in calculus class in high school. So this company has been around for a long
Right.
time, but they've pivoted so well into the AI sector that it seems like there's a lot of growth on the horizon, even for this very long-standing company.
AI is going to help automate things and make it so that machines can run machines. But the chips that Texas Instruments makes are like power connectors and other kinds of analog chips that allow the machines to actually work. So, you know, on one end, we have the rise of AI and the smartness of machines, but on the other, we just have the machines that are doing the work. And that's where Texas Instruments comes into play. Very well positioned. We're looking at some pretty good growth. And just based on the charts, I would say this one probably has a little bit more room to run.
Very interesting first stock, and also good to know that this is the second most purchased company by members of Congress. So
That's not by, like, volume, it's by the number of members buying it and the number of trades that they make. So there may be other stocks with more dollar volume or share volume, but as far as like commitment from the group of Congress members, this is number two for the number of members and the number of times it's been purchased in the last month.
Yeah, for investors who want to do their own research on which stocks members of Congress are buying right now, we have all of these tools on marketbeat.com. I have that link for you in the description. You can take a look for yourself and really see what members of Congress are trading anytime, and also which stocks are the most popular amongst members of Congress, too. So let's go to another technology sector now, Thomas. There's a really interesting story with some of the AI players and members of Congress.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, the other prolific trader from May, one of her standout trades was AMD. Now, AMD happens to be a top five most bought stock by Congress, so no surprise there. It's very well positioned for AI. We've talked about this stock many times on the channel. The last year, 18 months, has seen a little bit of volatility in the stock price because there was a bubble formed when AI came onto the market. The stock price ran up. The reality of AI took a little bit longer to catch up with AI or to catch up with AMD, but now the business and the outlook are kind of in alignment. The stock price is rebounding. Top five stock bought by Congress, but notably, NVIDIA is not. It's not a top five stock by Congress. It's not a top 10 stock by Congress. It's not even a top bought stock by Congress, according to MarketBeat's rankings. And so that really tells me something. Congress still has a pretty sizable position in it, but they've been holding. They haven't been buying more. But AMD, which is a stock that I see with a more potential for upside because it's still in its rebound mode, is a most bought stock. So that's a bullish sign for me.
That's a really interesting story that members of Congress are not adding to their NVIDIA position, but they are adding to AMD. I think that speaks kind of bullish for the whole AI sector. But AMD in particular, let's talk about the most recent trades. How well did the members of Congress do who bought AMD just in this last month or so? Feel like AMD was really at some historic lows in the last couple of months.
Yeah, so they were buying in March and April. So that's near the bottoms of the movement. And we're looking at 30, 25, 35% gains for some of these investments. That's pretty good upside. And I would say that the gains have only begun. AMD's stock chart looks very bullish. It's confirming a bottom and a reversal. So it looks like it could begin an uptrend that could take it back to its all-time highs.
Yeah, AMD is definitely a great growth story right now. If you're looking for other growth stocks for the summer, check out this free premium article we have just for our YouTube viewers. It's on the top 4 growth stocks with room to run this summer. You can scan the QR code or click the link I have for you in the description of this video to get that article totally free. And this list is really interesting. A lot of these are really good buy low with room to grow stocks. We have another really good bottom story to share of what members of Congress bought in at the very, very bottom of a stock. We're going to get to that story in just a minute. But first, Thomas, let's talk about some consumer discretionary stocks. There's some interesting moves happening by members of Congress in this sector, too.
Well, right, going back to Mr. Bresnahan doing his portfolio shuffling, I noticed that he sold PepsiCo, and PepsiCo's down pretty hard. They've been struggling. So not so surprising with that move. But then he offset that with three purchases of other consumer discretionary names. We've got Kraft Heinz, General Mills, and Hershey's, which are also all down pretty hard from their highs, all suffering from the same headwinds. So it's just like, why sell Pepsi to buy these? You might as well just have bought some more Pepsi. But generally speaking, I say that the consumer discretionary sector is a great buy right now because the stocks are down so low. You're going to get historically low valuations, historically high yields. None of them are really in bad shape. They're suffering a little bit because with consumers shifting down from top shelf to lower shelf products, all these name brands aren't doing quite as well as they could be. All still very strong, but as soon as consumers shift, they're going to be back to the top of the list. They're going to be growing again. They all produce solid capital returns. So again, I wouldn't read too much into the sale of PepsiCo. I would read more into the purchases of Kraft, General Mills, and Hershey's.
I think it's an interesting point when you talk about consumer discretionary spending because it's tied so closely to the economy. And members of Congress are kind of showing what the rest of the country is showing. And that's a little bit of uncertainty. What do you think it says to see that members of Congress are also buying into these consumer stocks right now?
An opportunistic move. I mean, they're down really low. Kraft is trading. like at 7 or 8 times its earnings. I mean, that is ridiculously low. It's as low as it's ever been, I think. Yielding above 5%. Yield is pretty safe. There's really no reason not to buy this stock at this price and at this yield. And the same thing goes with the others. They're just really ridiculously low valuations, good solid cash flow, reliable dividends, good high yields, offsetting inflation. I mean, it's a good place to put some money.
All right, well, let's get to that last stock we want to talk about with the congressional trading right now. And this is a buy at a really big low point for this huge company that's had not so great headlines over the past couple of months.
Well, right. United Healthcare, they've had a perfect storm of bad news. I mean, they had the CEO leave unexpectedly. They've got an investigation for fraud. They've been struggling with prices, with the administration raising some prices possibly, and the stock price has imploded. But notably, Marjorie Taylor Greene bought twice on May 14th and 16th at the lows of the movement and is doing very well with that. This looks like it could be a little bit shady. Why did she know to buy on this day? But I want to point out that everybody bought the stock on that day. If you look at the chart, the volume surged to such an astronomically high level. The entire company was bought and sold more than one time. Other Congress members bought it. Institutions bought it. Analysts bought it. So you can't really read too much into that. But we can look at the charts and think that, hey, it looks like a bottom for United Health. If they can get past some of these issues that they're dealing with, the stock could rebound pretty strongly.
Yeah, I think retail investors right now might be feeling like they missed that United Healthcare bottom. But do you think there's still more room to grow? Will this company recover even more from where it is right now? Is there still some kind of insight that regular retail investors can take from some of these perfect bottom plays that Congress might have made?
Well, right. I think that right now is an incredibly risky time to get into United Healthcare. The stock could rebound. I think it will get past these hurdles, but the chart is set up very bearishly. If we get some bad news before the good news comes out, it's going to sell off again. It could easily sell off and set new lows. In that situation, all of these, the record amount of volume that bought at the previous low could turn into sellers, and then the stock price could really, really get into a sell off. So I would want to wait until we start seeing some good news emerge before getting into the stock. In that scenario, you're going to miss out on some of the gains, but you'll also reduce a lot of the risk.
Well, that's a good look back at what members of Congress were doing all of May. I know, like you said at the start of this video, it could be a few weeks yet before we know what kind of moves they're making in June. If you had to guess or predict what kind of moves you might be seeing, what are some of the more general moves? We always know with congressional plays, there might be something surprising that maybe they heard about behind the scenes a little bit. But what are maybe the more obvious moves that you might expect to see some shuffling going on in June, even by members of Congress?
Into the blue chip tech, we're talking about NVIDIA, AMD, Oracle, and Microsoft. These are really our AI winners, our AI infrastructure winners. Quality dividends, like the consumer staples. Um, Probably reducing some exposure to some riskier growth stocks. I would want to keep an eye out on the data for anyone who starts to report, sales or purchases. All of a sudden, surprisingly, that could be a signal of something happening in Congress. But until we have some more clarity on trade and with the economy and interest rates, I would think that the members of Congress will probably be cautious as they've been all year and as the market's been all year.
All right, Thomas. Well, thank you so much for giving your predictions. Let us know what you think in the comments. What are you watching to see what lawmakers might be doing in June or not doing in June, leading up to some of the big announcements we're expecting over the summer? We'd love to hear from you in the comments and what you think about some of the plays they made in May as well. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. And as always, happy investing.